Okay, we should be going live on YouTube.
Okay, we are.
Sweet.
Nice. Oh, there it is. Yeah, live now.
Let me get the chat brought up here so I can actually see things. Okay, we should be going live on YouTube.
So
Mr. Strontium, how's it going, buddy? Sweet.
Hey, Strontium.
All right.
Gary's pressing buttons, as you can see.
Would you like me to do the intro, sir?
Yes, please.
Welcome, everybody, to a gaming conversation with Mike and Gary and friends. I am Quick Smoke, a.k.a. Mike. He is Gary, a.k.a. Local 4-Pack. Say hi, Gary.
Hi, Gary.
All right, and our special guest today, if you don't know him, you should. It's Gaming for XP. Say hi, G4.
Hi, G4. How are you?
And now the game starts of Guess What That Aussie Says.
which Mike has been wanting to play for about 2 weeks now.
Yes, I've been looking very forward to it. Why don't you tell us about yourself, G4?
What would you like to know, Mikey and Gary?
Tell us what your channel's about, if you have anything upcoming, and where you hail from, if you'd like.
Okay, well, guys, I'm originally from Scotland, a little country up north in the Northern Hemisphere. I've lived in Australia for a very, very long time now. So, and I have a YouTube channel which is predominantly Fallout based, although the last couple of days it's very much focused on Tomb Raider. Love to do builds, love to do gameplays, and it's really just there to help people improve their gaming knowledge and also get those XP. G'day, guys. G'day, chat. How you doing? Mark Jackson's in here. Brian from Canada is here.
Hey, look at all these peeps. How's it going, everybody out there?
Hello,
Yes.
Naomi.
Hey, Naomi.
So we're just gonna dive right into it, and I'm gonna start talking about one of my favorite things that you just recently started doing is get to know your neighbors.
Yes.
I think that is one of the best ideas I've ever heard of, because it's you supporting the Fallout community.
Yep.
It shows how strong you feel about the Fallout community. Why don't you tell us how you got that idea going and what made you think to do that?
Meet Your Neighbours came there back in about December, January of this year. There was a few changes that came around on YouTube, and they shifted the goalposts. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole reasoning behind that, and some of it I agree with, some I don't. But it kind of made it a lot tougher for people who are putting out content, especially smaller people, to get noticed. And you know, there are so many great creative people in our community that are struggling to get noticed. So that's really where it came about. I thought, you know, I know that when I first started my channel, and I'm by no stretch of the imagination huge, but you know, when I started my channel, there's a few people that gave me a little bit of a leg up, and you know, I thought, well, you know, I've got to a point where I can do the same, and I want to do the same, and I want to support our awesome community, because it is an awesome community. There are some amazing people out there with some just creative brains that are way beyond anything that I can think of, and it's just nice to share that with the community, and I'll get a lot of great comments and feedback on that segment on the channel. People love just being opened up to new channels and new ideas, and I think it just makes our community a lot stronger.
I have to say the latest episode you did was of the most creative Fallout 4 build I've ever seen in my life. It was a great one.
There was one since then. You got to pay attention.
Oh, see that damn notifications. Damn you, YouTube. No, but I mean, it's really great, and actually, because of that, the one you did on me, I got 3 more subs, and I updated my channel to some of the things that you suggested, and I think it's helped out a lot, which is really appreciative.
I appreciate that, and I must say that I really appreciate that, Mikey. I must say the featured videos that I've done, virtually every time I've done it on somebody, they've came back and given me really positive feedback, and it has prompted them to have a think about the channel and see how they can move it to the next level. Because let's be honest, I mean, we all know doing YouTube or Twitch or whatever it is, Mixer, whatever you choose to do, it's not an easy thing to do. It's constant evolution, and so my thoughts is about my channel and about my life is, if I learn something and I can share that with somebody and it helps them, then I will do that. So we should be working together as a community just to support each other, and so that's really what it's all about.
I'm definitely going to have to agree with you on that one. It's one thing that there's not enough of going on, and that is people supporting each other.
Yeah, so just a recap for anybody that happened to come in a bit late. So we're talking about G4's series where he does the Meet Your Neighbors, where he talks, introduces people to maybe some lesser known YouTubers or just other people in the community that he feels needs to get a little bit more love and that kind of stuff. So it actually worked out really well that was the first question Mikey asked, because that's the first video that I put into the playlist. So it worked out really well. We started off with JPix, Meet Your Neighbors, or the Meet Your Neighbors that G4 did for JPix. So that was pretty timely.
So g'day to More To Me for Life and Slender Slayer in the chat. How you doing today? I hope you're well. Yeah, but I think it's with YouTube, you constantly got to be looking for your kind of niche and what kind of fits with your channel and fits with your kind of outlook, and Meet Your Neighbors is just perfect. So there are fun little segments, and I'll actually, it's great because the community are now coming back and suggesting people that even I didn't know were around, and so it's allowing me to grow. And as you know, if you're building in Fallout 4, getting inspiration can be tough sometimes, and so there are so many great people out there that can just give you a little bit of inspiration and set you on a path to do a build. So it helps me also.
And I was going to say, speaking of inspiration, it's actually you who inspired me to do the past few episodes that I have done, This Old Wasteland, because you do Fixing Up the Commonwealth. And I'm thinking, damn, that's just a great idea.
Yeah. And I think, the one thing that I've done kind of for day one on the channel, Mikey, is that I used to watch a lot of Fallout 4 builders when I was first getting into it. And I probably built for a year before I put things up on YouTube. And one of the first things I wanted to do from day one is, rather than just do a tour, I wanted to show people actually how things fitted together and give them ideas. So I'm so thrilled that it has inspired you to go on, and you will, the beauty about what we do as Fallout 4 builders is that we can all have the same materials, but we come up with something completely different. And that's what I love about your segment, that I can see your build at Sanctuary was just like, wow, where did he get that idea? Which is just, I love it. I love that about our community.
Yeah, and I do a lot of the same things. I watch a lot of other people's videos, and I see like a certain building done a certain way, and I'm like, that's interesting, but what if I did it this way?
Mm-hmm.
And your build at Sanctuary actually, again, was sort of inspired some of my build, because I absolutely loved how you did that pier at your Sanctuary.
The dock project. Yeah, the dock project. Yeah.
That was an incredible build, and that was when I was like, God damn, I need to get an Xbox. Just because of the mods that you were using. Like, I love that log cabin and that pier looking build. If you haven't noticed lately on my builds, that's pretty much what I use. And I just love the fact that the way you do your videos is you don't just put it up and go, here's my tour.
Yep.
You do, this is how I made it.
Yep.
Now here's my tour.
And that was a conscious thing to do on my part, because I used to sit there and watch people's tours and go, how the heck did they do that? So why not share it? What's the problem in sharing it? And it's against what the guidelines they give you to say, oh yeah, you should keep your videos to this amount of time and that amount of time on YouTube. Who cares? Really, it's not about how many minutes it should be on YouTube. It's about just sharing your builds and helping people.
It's also I think a lot of it is content, and your content is great, really is. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. Again,
it feels quite nice though, Mikey.
Let me blow it a little closer to the undercarriage. Again, with your recognition of the community, I can remember I stumbled across you, and you were asking for suggestions, and I suggested a security place in that robot place. At
the Mechanist Slayer? Is that what you were talking about?
No, it was the place where the cabins are all dilapidated, and you got that hippie robot.
Sunshine Tidings.
Yeah, Sunshine Tidings, yeah.
Sunshine Tidings, right. I had suggested that, and you literally said, hey, I like that, and started building and gave me credit.
And I think Gary does this very well, and I've always been about that too. If somebody gives me an idea, why not give them credit for it? Why not?
Right.
A lot of people don't. And I don't think it's very fair. If I get inspiration for somebody, I like to share that fact, because if I get inspiration, the thinking behind that is, if I get inspiration, then other people will.
Yeah, wow, exactly.
Look at this building.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yes, it is. This is what fixing up the Commonwealth was all about. It's all about me going back and looking at what I've done when I first started building, which is what we're seeing now.
Right.
And seeing if I can improve on it.
Well, that's what it's have my regular build character, which is my very first character, and that's the one that I originally used mods on and all that kind of stuff. And when I first played, I was just about playing, and I would kind of dabble with the building and whatnot. So there's some really rough builds when you see them. And so now I'm taking that character and I'm going back to any and every settlement and just kind of building it up and whatever. And that's my main build character. And
nice.
So yeah, I kind of do the same thing. So if you ever see one of my settlements where there was something else built there, yeah, odds are it's going to be a huge hunk of shit. And yeah, it's needing to have some updates done to it. Yeah,
I know, but it shows the progress of where you've come in that little journey that you've come as you come into 4, and you really don't have an idea how to build, and that's what I love about it. I surprise myself sometimes, and when I go back and I build stuff and I look at my originals and cringe a little bit, but that's fine. It's all part of the learning process, I guess.
Yeah.
Mark Jackson has a question for me. What platform do you plan to play 76 on, if you plan to play? Okay. 76. Okay, so before I answer that question, what I want to say is I respect everybody's view on 76. Fallout 76. Some people were going to love it. Some people were saying, no, I'm never going to play it. And that's fine. I respect that. I will be playing it, and I'll be playing it on Xbox. And I'm pretty excited about 76. I got to say, I'm really excited. And the more I read about the game, the more excited I'm getting. And there's a number of reasons why I'm excited, but to answer the question, I'll be playing on Xbox, and yes, I will be featuring it on the channel. I think I'm sort of, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I'm sort of ready for a new Fallout now. You know, I've been what's Fallout 4, 3 years old now.
Yeah.
Even though I love the game to death, and I'm still finding areas in the game that I haven't discovered. I'm ready for a new Fallout.
Yeah, I'm ready for to be able to play, like do the playthrough, and I still enjoy doing a playthrough with it, and I started a full survival playthrough that I actually put on hold way back when I did my challenge, my Evolution of a Settlement challenge.
Settlement, yep.
Yeah, clear back in like January, I ended up putting that series on hold, and I just now started getting back to it. And so that series will be coming back around, but it's because it's different to play the entire game through, both on regular difficulty level and then on survival level. So you know, I want to complete that, and I still enjoy playing it, but I'm with you. Having new missions and stories and stuff like that will definitely make it fun.
Yeah, welcome to the chat, Kevin. How are you? Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for 76 and for a whole lot of reasons. But before we get into that, you know, I hit a period recently with Fallout 4 where I just had run out of building ideas completely. So what do you do with that? I mean, the channel's based around building in Fallout 4. It's kind of, what do you do? So I started playing Fallout 4 again and came up with the Gaming Plays Fallout. And man, it is, for all we might criticize Fallout 4, it is a great game. It is a very good game. Yes, it's got its bugs. Yeah, it could be better, but you know, I think it's the playability of that game over the last 3 years, and I still get excited. You know, and I had a video up recently, which was the Massachusetts State heist that I'd never been into in the game, and boy, oh boy, probably shouldn't have went in there, but I still find places in that game, even though it's, if you see the amount of hours I've put into the game, it's ridiculous. But anyway, you know. I love the game, and the building component, okay, is just an obsession. It becomes an obsession for a lot of people. It's just therapeutic, I think.
Oh, very, very. I mean, I'll lose time building. You know, I work at, a lot of you who know me, I work at 4:30 in the morning. So when I get home from work, I usually just eat dinner and watch some TV. And there'll be times when I'm like, I need to build. And before I know it, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, shit, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, it does do that. Whole days go by, I know. Okay. Vault Girl, welcome to the chat. What is the most memorable game you've ever played? Oh, that's a tough one. Whoa. Thing with me is, I'm not locked into one particular franchise or one particular game. I'll play a whole raft of games, and unfortunately, you know, probably don't finish half of them. But so to come to a favorite or a most memorable, oh, that's tough. That's real tough. I love the Fallout franchise. I love Assassin's Creed franchise. Yes, I do play Call of Duty a lot, probably too much. My wife would tell you probably too much. What else do we? The one that I actually came to by accident, and then 18 months later I was still playing it, was the Borderlands series, Borderlands 2 specifically. Splinter Cell. I guess the most memorable, or the one that I have played for many, many years, is the Tomb Raider series. And I do apologize to all my subscribers. I know you're getting spammed at the moment with Tomb Raider, but I'm just trying to get it out of the way before Fallout 76 drops. At least that's my excuse.
Mark has a question for all three of us. What is your favorite game engine, and what engine do you think Bethesda should migrate to for their future games. I'm going to be open and honest with you, Mark. I really don't have a lot of knowledge on the game engines. I don't know even what game engine Fallout 4 is playing on. I don't pay attention to that. I just pay attention to what I like. If I like it, I play it. I know that's kind of ignorant of me. I should know it, but I don't. I don't have an answer for that one.
Gary, do you want to take that one? I'm with Mikey, to be honest.
Well, I do know that Fallout uses the creation engine, and that's been the engine that they've used forever, right? So I know a little bit about that one, not a lot. I've heard about the Frostbite engine, but I'm with these guys. I don't know a lot about the different engines. I'm probably the worst for knowing anything about any of that kind of stuff because I play the least amount of games. Anybody that knows me very well, you guys will know. And Mark's been on me for probably 2 years now. Hey, you should pick a different game to play. I just find a game and I'll play it until I just decide I don't feel like playing it anymore. And it's usually how it tends to go. But yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and I just wish I could give you a better answer.
I think, I haven't got a great deal of knowledge about game engines, but I think if you look at games that you've played that you think, well, I've played that game and it's smooth and there's very few bugs in it, maybe that's the way of approaching it. And, I don't think I've played a game yet that has a perfect game engine. I got to say the most recent Tomb Raider is pretty smooth. There are a couple of things that I would change, but not much. They're pretty smooth. Square Enix do a pretty good job. I don't know. Sorry to be a bit vague on that, but yeah, I'm the same with Mike. I just play the games and worry about the bugs and get random. Although 76, they've had to completely do a complete recoding of the game to get it to work online. So, GTA is a good engine. I agree with Estronium. There you go. That's as much as I can say to that.
G4, what was your first video that you put out?
It wasn't the police station. There was a police station. I'm trying to think what the first one was. I keep thinking it was the police station build that I made, but it wasn't. It was something completely different. It might have been the railway bar video. It's one of those.
What inspired you to do that?
I'd been building in Fallout probably for, 6 or 8 months and watching a whole number of YouTubers. And just thought, maybe somebody might like what I do, so I'll just check it up there. And I had planned to start my YouTube channel about a year previous to that, and had a few technical issues, and was trying to figure out how best to do it. I had to, wait for the tax check to come in so I could purchase some stuff. So, and it was just purely to say, people might get some value out of this. Why not just share it and see what happens?
And it's funny, what actually started me on doing YouTube was one of my friends that I grew up with is a Fallout 4 builder. His name is Crazy Wolf. He does have some really awesome builds if you ever get a chance to check out his videos. He doesn't announce in it, though. He doesn't narrate. And I've been getting on him about that. But he was pretty much, hey, I just did this build. Why don't you check it out? And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that. So I would build something and I'd share it with him. So my first few videos, there's no narration or anything. It was just me trying to show him what I built. And then I started meeting people like Dark Deliac and Gary and On a Whim, and saw how they were actually narrating their videos. And that's when I started narrating, and been going since.
I'll take it back. I'd take it back just a fraction, though, mate. I don't know. I'm an old guy. I'm a very old guy, and I remember playing games many years ago, and getting stuck at a certain point, and then you'd ring your mate and say, "Look, he's playing the same game. I'm stuck at this point." He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm stuck at that point too." And you're like, "Oh crap balls! What are we going to do here?" And in those days, you had to make sure that nobody was on the phone, so you could get onto the internet. And there were these walkthroughs that were all text that you had to sit and go down and read, and that was kind of an influence as well. It was I admired the guys that spent so much time typing all the explanations out, and thought, maybe I could do that too. Maybe I could help some people. So that was part of the influence as well, and the inspiration, I guess. But geez, the good old days before YouTube was invented.
Oh yeah, I remember reading those texts on I forget what video game I was trying to play. I think it was God of War when it first came out, and I had to read like Game Informer or something like that online.
Yep.
Yeah, to figure it out.
I can remember buying the gaming books. Had all the kind of different things just so you can, if you wanted to be like a completionist and all that kind of stuff, so that way you can find all the little things. You go buy the book. Well, hell, you don't even have to do that now. You got YouTube. Just somebody will find it, and you can go find the video for it.
Sure. And I think I'll show my age now. There was, I'm sure it was from the UK. There used to be, just before I do that, I think, g'day Di, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Sushi Cat's in here too. Cat, how you doing? And Person as well. There was a British publication which accompanied, I'm going to show my age now, Commodore 64, and they would have exactly that. They say, okay, this is the game you're playing, and this is how to get through it, and they'd go step by step. So I also used to do that a little bit, that Gary too. It's I think games were a little bit more difficult then, but maybe I'm just getting old.
Well, I think I said it in a previous episode. It meant something to achieve something. Like it was a goal to, like, you read about this person getting this because they achieved that, and you're like, oh, I got to do that. Christ, I remember when PlayStation was putting out a magazine, and the last 4 pages of the magazine were cheat codes for the hottest games that were out.
Oh dear, them were the days.
Yeah, I was going to say those were back in the days.
Okay, so there's a couple of questions, so I'll just scroll back. Stronium, have you ever built in a vault? You know what? And I think I said this on one of my videos lately. I think the closest I've got to a vault is the Mechanist layer, and I don't know why, but it really doesn't interest me building in a vault. Although I haven't seen Gary's latest video. Where he found Vault 88, I think it was. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot of scope in there. So maybe I might do one there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't gotten started on the building aspect of it yet. But, I decided that's where I'm going next. Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say, it's Vault 88 is somewhat intimidating just because of the size, and I think that's what a lot of people mentioned to me. And to me, it just feels like if you're going to build a vault, you have to do it underground. I know some people have built vaults outside, and you can use some of the pieces and whatever, but to build a vault, it has to be underground.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I do have an idea for a subterranean kind of city. And I guess the vault would be perfect for that, which I haven't really. I've built a couple. I've made a couple of attempts at doing that, but I haven't really got it perfect yet. So maybe in the future, but I tend to break the game a bit.
I was just gonna say, I've seen a few people who have built in the Vault 88 area and not done vaults. They've done like underground cities. So I mean, that's always great to do. But I'm really curious about how Gary's going to do this, because I start out trying to build a vault, and I get bored with it really quickly. But I've seen some people do some amazing things. So I'm hoping, and I'm sure, as always, Gary does inspire some of my builds because his layouts are just incredible. I'm sure once I see his start to be done, I'm gonna get the Vault 88 bug myself.
I think maybe in Fallout 76 I might try one. It depends what the landscape's like, but we're really talking about a building mechanism that is effectively either conquest or build anywhere. So maybe there's going to be an opportunity there to do that. I'm not sure. There's a whole lot of unknowns about the building component of the new game, about size limits and stuff like that. So we'll see. I haven't discounted it. It's just at this point, until I saw Gary's video, I really had very little interest in building in the vault. So,
are you saying that me and Gary are conjoined twins there, Mark?
Very, very true. We are.
Well, Gary inspires me. He's like an Adonis, the David, if you will.
Right.
Isn't that another show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Completely other show.
Or another part of the internet. I'm not sure which.
Yeah. So speaking of 76, what's the one thing about it, other than just the fact that it's new, that's got you really excited about it?
Collaboration. In a word.
Yeah,
and
I think you nailed it for me too.
I read something during the week or last week, I can't remember when it was, about the fact that they're now talking about areas that will be able to build kind of cities in as collaborative builders, and I was like, that's what I guess from the Fallout 4 perspective, I've been waiting for that. And again, hey, we for me, Fallout 4, we whinge about it, and we say, oh, why Bethesda? I'm sure everybody that builds in Fallout 4 has said that at some point. But hey, that was the first that was really the first go at having a building component in the Fallout game, and I think if we're really being fair, they'd done a pretty good job first up, right? But the why Bethesda has also got me excited in Fallout 76, because Fallout 76 is going to evolve over time. So if there are bugs in that game or things that need to be fixed, if we shout loud enough, they have the ability to go in and do that as the game progresses. So they'll be able to fix things on the fly. There's the collaborative aspect of Fallout 76, and I think it would be really, really fun to put a number of builders together with different styles and just see what happens.
Well, that new info that they came out with here recently, where they basically said that, on their test gaming, they had like 12 people got together and made one big city. And I know Vic, Draco Invictus, and I, we were sitting around one night and we're like, that's what's going to be so cool if we can do it, is to be able to just butt our settlements up against each other and just make one big ass settlement. And everybody's like, well, I don't know if they'll let you do it. And then sure as shit, they come back and say, oh yeah, you can do this, and it's really cool. And we're like, yes, that's really sweet. The fucked up thing is, thank you, Sony, there's the fact that we're limited to the platform that we're playing on. I mean, I'm going to get to play with Mark and Liz.
Yeah,
I don't even know who else is going to be playing on PC. So that's one of the downfalls of it.
I think another downfall. I'm sorry.
Go on.
One of the other downfalls, and I read the same article that Vic put out. If you remember correctly, they say when you're co-oping and you're building, you might have one guy who builds up on defenses. Another guy has like this special. Another guy has that special. So if you do build a community and you can't just rely on that one guy who is building defenses, because when he's offline and you go online to that city, his portion is not there. So if you just relied on him to put up your defenses, your settlement has no more defenses.
Yeah.
Unless you build your own.
And they were talking about private servers as well. So I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see how this all. I think over time, as I said, 76 gives them a whole different kind of opportunity to kind of start to address this. The other exciting thing about 76 is that you may well be playing with people online that are developers from Bethesda. You might have access to them directly. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But anyway.
It's funny you mentioned that. Just a quick note. Do you remember the game Resistance?
Yes, I do. Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Their developers used to play on that online with people too. And they would have a star above their name. And one of my biggest victories was I came across one and just shot the fuck out of them and then teabagged. So that'd be interesting to become across a Bethesda dev and initiate a PvP with them.
So, but here's have a think about this, guys. The people that are in the chat, and can you imagine taking Meet Your Neighbors and applying it to Fallout 76? Having a builder, and obviously that you have this issue with the cross-platform, but being able to say, okay, you've only got 50 subs, come and build with me on stream or whatever it might be in Fallout 76, and let's see what you're able to show us, because I think the visual medium is much more powerful than the spoken medium. You can actually see somebody doing something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I think that's an idea that I'm playing around with at the moment. I can imagine me and Mikey building together. Holy dilly!
I would love that. And believe me, this stream is full of nothing but extremely talented builders. Yeah. But getting one of these two builders together to build a society in there, whew.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. You know what? It doesn't matter if when you go offline it all disappears. If you capture it for YouTube, or there's ways around that. We're a resourceful bunch. We break games. We find ways around things. So, and thank God for Bethesda not making perfect games, because without perfect games, we'd have never found the rug or the pillar glitch.
And I think it would be another very interesting view is that if, say, we did do a build together, you record your end of it, I record my end of it, and it's two completely different views of the same build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing things that can happen.
But to answer Gary's question a little bit further, exciting about Fallout 76, my goodness, I said earlier, I've been playing Fallout 4 for 3 years now, and I'm still finding new places. Can you imagine how long it's going to take you to find everything on the map in that game? It's 4 times bigger than Fallout 4. My goodness. And that's why they're saying this is the game that they think is going to go for years and years and years. And the longevity of Fallout 4 is really, they made a bet or took a punt on the building component of Fallout 4. But boy, oh boy, this is going to go to another level.
Yeah, and another one of the things that I actually look forward to, and we were, you and I and Kat were listening to an update on the news, is that the crafting has been revamped a little bit, where you can craft weapons, and that is the only way you can get that weapon or a certain armor. You can really craft your own armor.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be interesting.
It certainly is. It gives it a whole different dimension, doesn't it? And so I understand people were apprehensive about it. It is completely different. It is not going to be for everybody, and that's what I love about games. There's some games that we love, but I'm sure if I asked you what your game library looked at, and Gary what his game library looked like, and you compared it with mine, there'd be distinct differences, and I love that. But we tend to come together for that games, or You know, I've been playing Bethesda games for a long time, not knowing that I was playing Bethesda games, to be honest. Look at that beautiful building.
I was just thinking that.
Who knew that our gate could look so nice? No, I'm kidding. I'm a bit I'm a bit biased. Mark, you did ask something about real world games. Could you expand on what exactly you wanted me to kind of answer there, mate?
Mikey?
What?
Mikey? got a question?
G4 had a question for you about you had said something about real world games.
No, it was Mark Jackson.
Oh, Mark did.
Oh, come on, know what that Aussie says. Come on, we're playing that game.
Oh. So while we're coming up with that, person IDK, he had the question about what our thoughts were for the forced survival concepts in Fallout 76. So I'll let our guest go first.
So I'll just read the question. What was the question? Sorry, the survival? There we go. Having forced survival. I don't think that the survival components are going to be. I think Todd Howard said it. I can't remember if it was him or Pete Hines said it. It's not going to be hardcore survival. It's going to be things like you have to eat food, you have to drink on a regular basis, and it's not going to be much more than that. So I'm comfortable with that. It just puts a little bit more aspect to the game, and it makes much more. I guess why do we play games so they're immersive and they're close to real life? So it makes it a little bit more close to real life. I think Mikey, you were saying on that thing that you're watching today that sleep isn't mandatory, but food, drinking, and eating is for survival. Which is sort of makes sense. So they haven't gone crazy with it.
I think it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt as the aspect of that you are going to have to eat and you are going to have to drink, and food does disintegrate after a while.
That will be the hard part, is the how your food will decrease and not disintegrate but go bad or whatever, you know. That part will suck. But
yeah.
As far as the rest of it goes, I'm all for it. I mean, I've pretty much switched, other than my main build character, I've switched to playing 100% survival. So, you know, I'm used to it. That's one of the reasons. But the other reason is, why not do that? I mean, if all you have to do is eat and drink, that's not that difficult. Especially they give you a little pop-up that tells you to eat or drink. You know, it's like, it's not hard to do. So, you know, no need to make a big deal out of it.
I mean, it's a bit like for me so the first Fallout I ever played, and I was kind of late to Fallout, I got to admit. The first Fallout I played was New Vegas, and then Fallout 4, and I've started Fallout 3, but I haven't really got that far in. Now, one of the things, and I know people used to love this about New Vegas and Fallout 3. I wasn't a fan, was the fact that you had to constantly repair your armor, constantly repair your guns. But it's part of the game. Even though I wasn't a fan of it, I adapted to it. I got used to it, you know, and I didn't really give it much thought. And I think the survival aspect of Fallout 76 will be the same. You'll just adapt to the game and you get used to it. And I hear what you're saying about the fact that you play survival person, but a lot of people don't. You'll just adapt to it. If you're enjoying the game, it's not real. I don't really see it as a big issue.
Well, I did enjoy playing survival mode in Fallout during Gary's challenge until my game decided to break on me. But my main worry is that finding that resource, like, you're going to be out there away from your settlement, and you have to drink, and you have nothing but dirty water and low health. You're screwed.
Yep. So it makes you think a little bit more, eh?
Definitely.
Mark was asking, and I know you had a question a while ago, so I'll try and answer that. So expanding, have you made friends, gone to weddings, lost friends? I guess around YouTube or gaming, or I mean, to answer that, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for YouTube, if it wasn't for gaming. Yeah, certainly have made a number of lifelong friends through gaming. And a very good friend of mine, our wives just leave us in the back room when we get together because that's all we talk about. So yeah, and I'll tell you what, you probably hate me for telling the story. He probably doesn't even know the story, but one of the things I love about the Fallout 4 community in YouTube is one of the guys that used to inspire me before our channel together was Draco Invictus, and to have gone from being a consumer of his content to being in his stream and be able to participate, and Vic is a good guy and be a friend is quite amazing. So and I love that about the gaming community. I love that. We don't, as gamers, we really don't care what your background is, who you are, where you're from. We have this just kind of affinity that we love Fallout 4, we love Assassin's Creed, whatever it might be, and let's talk about it and let's swap ideas. And so hopefully that answers the question. Can you romance Fallout play? You probably can romance. Well, you could sort of romancing in Fallout 4. Now, romancing Mikey in Fallout 76, that could be kind of interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like how would the game though decide that? Yep, you've reached enough affection level for you guys to be able to be romanced.
I think it's when we wake up spooning.
There you go. I feel like they should have some sort of a mechanic. I mean, they want you to be able to play however you want, right? So I feel like they need to have some sort of mechanic where you can say, "I'm with her," or "I'm with him."
Back off, buddy. Or I'm with Mikey.
I'm with them. Depending on how big of a.
I'm with Mikey and Gary. Even if Gary's on cross platform, I'm still with Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
You have no worries, G4. The minute somebody talks to you, I'll be like, "That's my bit," and I'll initiate PvP.
Thanks, Pearson. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I'm gonna have to say, Mark. I think gaming has. I'm gonna say gaming and YouTube has affected us all in our personal life for the fact that I talk to Gary offline all the time. We text back and forth. I give him a ration of shit for liking the Packers. Sushi Cat and I talk all the time. We've made friends, and that's what built the community. So yeah, I mean, this stuff has affected our life personally.
Absolutely, and it continues to as well, because you continue to meet new people. It's incredible, and we can talk in our own little way about the things that we like that other people in the normal world just don't get.
Yeah, I mean, I made a bunch of friends in when I was playing SOTOR, and we ended up meeting up out at Vegas last year. And I mean, we hadn't. Well, my brother and I hadn't played. And one of the other guys, we hadn't played in probably over a year. Played SOTOR in over a year because they kind of screwed up the game. Had they not screwed up the game, I'd probably still be playing that. With a sprinkling of Fallout 4. But yeah, so we ran into. I don't know, it was probably about 7 of us. Like half of our raid group was out there. So yeah, it was pretty cool actually running into people that been playing with for 5 years or whatever, and then you go meet them in real life. That's always pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say some of the best conversations I've had were with you. Me and Di have talked very, very closely. Some great conversations. Sorry. So this is something people have been asking me a lot lately. And Brian Just Fuller just said it again. When is Vault Girl going to be on the podcast? Just have to get together with her and set a date. That's it.
Well,
Not to take the limelight away from G4 right now, but it's whenever you want to be on, Vault Girl, you say it, we'll put you on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
And then we'll start working on her about getting some actual content on YouTube.
Well,
that'll be fun too.
She has some good content on there too.
I didn't think she had any videos up. I think that was one of the things that she was saying.
What are you? So Mark Jackson's asked us what are your favorite games by genre.
Ooh, good question.
Ooh. See, it's funny because I've evolved over time what I play. I used to play driving games for a while there, but open world, I'm very much an open world guy now. I do like kind of first person open world. Third person, not such a big fan, but I'll play them. Games that are kind of top down, I will not play. But
and what do you mean by top down?
Yeah, so your views actually from looking from like an eagle view down onto
like the old GTAs.
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
No, in GTA first
you're not actually, but no, not GTA, but you're not actually in the world like we are here. You're actually looking from the sky down onto the characters on top of their heads, basically. So
yeah. So not quite like the original Fallouts. I don't know if you've seen any of my Fallout series, but not quite like that. But yeah, more of a straight down view.
What I've been doing lately, actually, is I've been going back and playing. I bought Xbox had a retro gaming Sega Master System catalog that I've gone back and played some of the older games, and that's been kind of fun too. The old retro games that I grew up with, and games that I'd never actually played as well, which is kind of fun. But yeah, pretty much, I like stealth games. I'm not very good at them. I'm not very patient in stealth games. I don't mind them. Splinter Cell, that kind of stuff. Assassin's Creed, I love. Tomb Raider, I love.
I was actually thinking about, and I'm trying to think if I want to do it for the PS4 or Xbox. Download Assassin's Creed 2. Because I just finished reading the book, and it got me like, oh, I want to play this game again. I love those kind of games where you got to sneak up and kill people. I'm really looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed as well.
Well, that's the thing about Fallout. I love my snipers in Fallout. I just done a video on the weapons I'm using, but I do like to range people in Fallout 4, and it's quite satisfying when you manage to kill them stealthily.
What older games? Well, any game anyway. What game would you like to see? And probably more like a retro game, but would you like to see them kind of remaster and redo in a newer engine? There
is one game that I played, and I think it was actually a Bethesda game. I don't know if they were Bethesda done it or they were called Bethesda in those games. But one game from way back is a Quake, the original Quake game, which I had on PC. Now I kind of had an evolution because I was a PC gamer for quite a while until consoles came along. But I had it on PC, and then Windows changed the Windows version, and then it wouldn't play because it was DOS based or whatever. So I'd love to see that on console, just for curiosity.
Yeah. For me, and I've asked this game before to nearly every one of our guests. But and I don't know if I've ever had an answer for myself, but for me, I think it would be Knights of the Old Republic. The first one, not even the second one would be all right too, but the first one, redoing that one, remastering that on a brand new engine, because I mean, back when it came out, however many years ago, I mean, it was pretty much top notch anyway. It's probably getting close to 20 years old now. But That was one of the things that BioWare did an amazing job with that game, and I would love to see that come back. And be and people have constantly tried to remaster it, and the big thing is that they can't get BioWare won't give them permission to use any of the voices and stuff. Very much like the
Oh, wow.
Fallout 3. They were trying to remaster Fallout 3 in the using the
Fallout 4
Fallout
engine,
4
yeah.
engine, yeah. And yeah, so
It's interesting. Bethesda done something really quite unique that I haven't seen any other developer do, and that was the Wolfenstein franchise. I think it was Youngblood. I think it was that game, which I've bought, and I've only got so far through. But you would get to a point in that game, and you'd walk into a cell, and it would say sleep. And so you go, okay, well, as a part, obviously I have to sleep. As soon as you went to sleep, it threw you into the original Wolfenstein game, and there were sections in that game you had to get to go to progress each level. So you straight away you were back into the original game as it looked, with all the pixels, and it was geez, I had a lot of fun with that. It was just a little bit nostalgia, but it was an interesting concept that they did that. They just chucked it into the new game as a homage. So,
Well, Mark, even though I don't like to talk about politics,
but
in
if you
a
will,
way, I'm going to get a little deep for you, okay? I think, in a way, and again, I don't know the true definition of social justice warrior because I don't know much about it. In a way, gaming has its own way of being social justice warriors. Each game has a moral story in it. If you think about it, Assassin's Creed, it's greed and corruption. It talks about how bad that is. And Fallout 4 talks about how war destroys the world and each and every one of us. So, it is. Gaming has its own type of that, if you could say. Like, each game has their message. And it's if you can see what that message is. Does that answer your question?
It's interesting as well. I'm just reading the chat. Gary, you're talking about, what would you like to see remastered? I wonder about that, though. I wonder about, for me, Quake, I'd like to see it available on Xbox or whatever platform it might be, but do I want it remastered? Not really. Because, you're talking about Morrowind and Skyrim. Isn't that what makes Skyrim so attractive? Is the game as it was when it was released, rather than try to improve upon it? I mean, that's the thing about Bethesda games. They're going to be buggy. We know they're going to be buggy, but that's kind of what we like about it.
I think that's what gives the game's some of the game's character.
Yep.
It's a type of buggy. Like, I think it was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was the story of Connor.
Yep.
Loved the game, played it through, beat it, but some of the bugs in it bothered me, so it made me feel like the game was rushed. Like, there were pixelating issues where Connor would be in conversation with his mentor, and you would just see the outlines of his face.
Yep.
Like, unfinished. Like, that stuff bothers me. But, like, in Fallout 4, you get your Brahmin on the roof, or you build a building, and all of a sudden you see Piper up on the roof fucking around. It's like, what the fuck? But it's funny because it gives the game character.
What do you think, Gary? Or is he falling off? Is he falling off? He's falling asleep, maybe.
No, I'm here. I was just, being lulled by your guys' wonderful voices. Yeah, that's it. I was actually trying to read chat and catch up with where they're at. Yeah, and I was kind of going back to the social justice thing, and then I'll bounce over to kind of what you're. Well, actually, I'll go with what you guys are talking about. Then I'll kind of touch on the social justice thing. So yeah, I mean, some games well, it's funny because everybody always says Bethesda's buggy, right? But show me a game that doesn't have its own bugs in it,
Absolutely.
and and not every game has the amount of hour playthrough that Bethesda games has. Some games, you're done in say about 50 hours of play, and then Bethesda games you can play them for hundreds of hours if you really wanted to. So when you put that much into a game, obviously there's going to be a lot more chance for bugginess. But just because there's sometimes you can play the game for the nostalgia sake. That's basically one of the reasons why I'm playing Fallout 1. And then I'm going to play Fallout 2. It's just for the sake of nostalgia. I don't know if I would want them to remaster those games. The stories are great and all that kind of stuff. But would I really need them to remaster it? Probably not. But like with the nice thing is you can at least play it, and I know I could probably go get KOTOR and play it, but there's just something about that game that I think it would just be really great if they did remaster it, because it was already like a 3D open world type of or semi-open world type of game. I think it would lend itself really well to being remastered, whereas like Fallout 1, part of its thing is the fact that it's kind of got it's the turn-based kind of, not like a 45-degree third person view to it. That's just kind of the thing about it, and whatever. So I'm with you guys on that. Like, you shouldn't remaster every game out there, and sometimes it's just best to play the game the way it was. So I'm with you on that.
What kind of what? Go on. Sorry, go.
No, I was gonna say.
Go on.
I was just gonna say with the social justice thing, I think everybody pretty much touched base on it. That and a cat said it really well. For the most part, gamers, we don't really put up with all the social justice stuff because it's not something that's important to us. As far as we feel like we need to have it in our game, and if it's in the game, then you're gonna hear from us, because it's like, why? We don't want it in there just for the sake of it being in there because somebody's trying to make a point about things. So, and for those that don't fully know the term, the social justice stuff is more like doing things that, from a political, from a social justice political standpoint, meaning intentionally putting transvestites into a game, or talking about for like books and stuff. Just out of nowhere, J.K. Rowling decided to announce that yes, Dumbledore was gay. Like, what's the point? Like, all of the stories were already done. Nobody gives a shit, and it has nothing to do with the story. Why even say that? Like, that's just so that way she can say I had some gay characters in my books. Like, what's the point? It's just like, that's the kind of social justice stuff that I think Mark's talking about. And with games, when they throw that in there, if it does not lend itself to the story, then gamers aren't gonna, we're not gonna put up with that shit. It's like,
no, we're not. Make
it part of the story or something that's significant about the game. Otherwise, there's no fucking point to it. So,
well, they do that, and you find out that they do that in everything. Like, I can remember a few years back, they did it in comic books. The Green Lantern. First, it went from being a white guy to a black guy. Whatever. Then all of a sudden, it's a gay black guy. What does that matter? What does that have to do with him saving people?
Right. Like, what's the point?
It's what I said before. We're gamers. We get together because we enjoy certain aspects at certain games or whatever it might be. We're not really interested in any of that. We just want to play games and swap ideas and be accepting of the people that we have in our community. We don't care where they come from, what their preferences are. We really don't.
I like to torture people.
I don't want it rammed down my throat either. That I should think this way or that way or whatever.
And the thing is that the people that seem to really care most about it they wouldn't be true gamers. Or, you know, if you're talking about for movies or TV, they're not really movie fans. You know, stuff like that. It's more of them. It's their agenda, and they're trying to get the recognition. So if you put, you know, what's the term? Pansexual. If you put a pansexual character in Star Wars, which they've done a couple times, and then they announce it after the fact. Oh, by the way, General Holdo was pansexual. So, what the hell do I care? You know, it wasn't part of the story. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, you didn't see her fooling around with like all kinds of different creatures or whatever. Like, why bother to say that? You know, and so when you get to stuff like that, if it doesn't support the story, most people don't give a shit. Like, why even bring it up? Because most people don't really care. Unless it's part of the story, nobody really cares except for those people that are really interested in pushing that agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you nailed it on the head.
I agree. And I also agree with G4 what he said about I don't want it crammed down my throat either. They're even doing it now in grocery stores with product. A while back, I had posted a picture. I was shopping, and they have big gay ice cream now. What the fuck does gay have to do with liking ice cream?
It's true.
Is it because you're gay that you need special ice cream now?
You don't want to know where they got that milk, I'll tell you that.
I mean, in a sense, it is getting a little ridiculous how it's crammed down your throat. And I come from the biggest gay supporter city next to, like, Chicago or whatever. You know, gay marriage in Vermont is very big. I would say probably about 60% of the population here seems to be gay. Whatever. It is what it is. I don't care.
Yeah, it should be a low kind of thought process and move on. Yeah, that's your decision in life. It's up to you. Great. Move on. What annoys me more, Gary, coming back to the point about remastering, what is annoying me at the moment is a number of companies, software development companies, gaming development companies, who are putting games out that are unfinished and fixing them on the run, talking about remastering and doing all this kind of stuff. It seems to be a trend now that companies want to get things out to get the dollars in and not finish games, and that annoys me more than anything at the moment. And I guess to a degree Bethesda are kind of hopped on that bandwagon with 76, where they're going to put a game out that they think is where they're at that point of the evolution, and then fix it on the fly. And I don't agree with that, the way things are, but that's the way that gaming is evolving at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And pump shit out there, make the money, worry about the details later.
Right, and you kind of brought it up before, G4. That is one of the best aspects of Fallout 76. Because it's going to be going on and on, Bethesda can't avoid fixing some of these things. They
can.
Well, they can, but the community is going to really let them have it. When you start having an online community, you have people that you're gonna have to log in and all that kind of stuff. People are going to be talking to their support a lot, and people are going to be bitching. They're going to have some way to report bugs. I guarantee you, the bugs that everybody notices is going to get reported constantly. And Bethesda's going to be like, fine, fuck it, let's just fix it, get it out of the road. I'm tired of hearing about it. So that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. I think it's going to be a great aspect of it, is the fact that some of the little, the bugs that are more annoying than everything that Bethesda just kind of ignores after a while, those will get fixed, because they'll have the time, because they're going to be constantly doing the updates, so.
Well, look at EA with Battlefield. They said fuck it.
Yeah, but
whatever's there is there.
That's EA though. I mean, EA is they're no longer going to be considered a AAA gaming platform before too long if they don't pull their head out of their ass.
Well, here's the thing. I said earlier, I do play Call of Duty a lot. And I had the most recent one, and they released that game, and it bombed. It completely bombed. And if you're talking about an online community that's very vocal, that would be the one. It took them probably 8 months to fix that game. So, my point is, why release it? Why release it in that font? And the answer is for Activision, they're on a three-year cycle. So if you don't know, they have 3 different development studios and they're producing a game every year. But why bother? Why bother putting out crap? I'd rather you waited a year, like Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
And come up. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but boy, oh boy, it's going to be much better than just chucking stuff out there and expecting us to like it, grabbing the money.
Yeah, now, like, I know a lot of people, they get down and to kind of extend the conversation on the, putting out the complete game first. People kind of say the same thing when you're talking about DLCs and stuff. I don't mind DLCs so much. I would kind of like to see DLCs much later and larger DLCs, like, I don't need a DLC, say, 6 months after the game came out. How about 9 months after the game came out? Really kind of, I understand a lot of people are going to play the shit out of the game and then they're going to move on because maybe they don't have a lot of people don't have the same kind of attitude with games as I do. So, if you have a short attention span when it comes to gaming, then, 6 months is probably a good idea for the DLCs. But if you stretch it out, you're going to extend the life of that game in the first place. Plus, it gives you, from a gamer standpoint, it gives them more possibility of actually fixing some of the bugs that they've found. So I don't know. I'd like to see some of the DLC stuff kind of get adjusted in that regard too.
I like the concept of DLCs, and this is one thing I actually have to applaud Bethesda on, is that the DLCs that are coming out for 76 are going to be free.
Yep.
But I think charging $97 for future DLCs that may never come out is a little ridiculous.
Right.
I think there's other ways the company can make money to provide DLCs than charging $100 for a video game, where I remember as a kid paying $30 for a video game and thinking that was ridiculous.
Yeah, the costs get a bit crazy now with video games. I must say it is too high, I think. But anyway, we keep playing them, so
Very true. Very, very true.
All right, G4. Here's a question for you.
Yep.
If you were to start a gaming company, what would be the name?
Mikey's Gaming Emporium.
Where everybody is naked.
That's right.
But naked with a beard, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. I'm not good with names, I must admit. I'd have to give that a lot before. It's interesting because it's how do you come up with a name for your YouTube channel? How do you come up with a gamer target? It takes a while. I couldn't possibly answer that on the spot, but it would be something stupid, probably something nerdy.
Hey, that's well, you're making a gaming company. It should be something nerdy because, as we all know, gamers are nerds. So definitely something nerdy.
I guess if you look at the ones that really make me smile, Naughty Dog would be the one I always come to going, wonder how they came up with that name.
Yeah.
The Naked Gaming Company, I like that. Highlander Studios. The chat's coming up with better ideas than I could. Look at that. I love you guys. You're awesome.
So when you play a game,
yep.
Does it matter for a storyline if it's fun, or is that important to you as well when you play a game?
I think the gameplay comes first for me. If it's got a good storyline, and I was saying this to somebody the other day about the latest Tomb Raider that I've just finished yesterday. Yay, you'll be glad of that, so you don't get spammed anymore. Well, we'll get spammed for another couple of weeks, but anyway, there was something about this one. So I've played all this. This is the third one in the most recent series that I've played. There is something about the storyline in this one that has got me hooked, and I think it's a combination. To answer the question, it's a combination of both. If you have a good, believable storyline, then it keeps you playing for quite a while after you've kind of completed the game, and I think the storyline is very, very important, but you don't find the storyline till you start playing the game. So. Probably a bit of both. I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. I like to just get in and start playing and see what happens. Hopefully that answers your question.
Would you play a game for just the fun aspect? I mean, if it had a shit story, but it was fun.
Yes, absolutely. The key for me for games is if it's if it plays, if it's fun for me, if I enjoy it or is immersive or whatever. If it has a crappy storyline, that's fine. I can deal with that. I don't have to worry about it too much. But if it is a fun game, I'll play it to bits.
It seems like most games, to me, and I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. Seems like back in the day, Pac-Man and Space Invaders and Donkey Kong and all of those. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, there's an end to it. There's no story. Some of it, for the most part, is fairly repetitive and all that kind of stuff. But you can just play that game for all night long. You don't have to worry about the aspect of what's the story like and any of those things. I kind of miss that. I feel like they don't have a lot of games that are like that anymore. Everything's trying to go to some sort of a story. I mean, you have some that are still like side scroll and linear and all that kind of stuff. And Mark's put quite a few of those on his channel, and they're with platforming and all that kind of stuff. Those are excellent games, but that's there's a story to them, and they're great games in and of themselves. So not every great game with a story has to be like an open world sandbox type of thing.
No, I agree.
But I just feel like they just don't have games that you can just play anymore, right?
Well, did they just come out with Fortnite? Isn't that like a mindless, storyless game?
No, I just don't even consider that a game. I think that's just...
Did you have to mention the war, Mikey? I guess it really depends on what mood you're in, what game you want to play. Sometimes you want to get immersed into this very heavy storyline. Sometimes you just want to get on and just shoot the crap out of something.
Well, and of course, I wouldn't even really. I mean, because anything that's a PvP game, you can just get on and do whatever. You don't have to have the story. I'm thinking of something more, like I said, more along the lines of Pac-Man, Space Invaders. Just randomly go on there. Probably something similar. I mean, but they put a story in it. Like for me, any of these games that I get on my phone, anybody's got a smartphone. I got this one. It's called Brick Block or some shit like that. That like the moment I got any kind of free time, it's called Bricks and Balls. And I mean, it's just like a time waster. You just go through level after level of trying to blow up all these bricks and stuff. I just don't feel like there's games like that out there anymore other than on your smartphones.
Yep, I completely agree with you. But I think if you look at something like an Assassin's Creed game, it's essential that they do a good job on the storyline because there's a whole 10 years of where that whole storyline's going. So yes, I don't think the storyline's that important, but I think the games that last are the ones that have very well developed kind of stories and believable and kind of suck you in and you can relate to, I guess.
Sort of along the same lines of that question, it seems to be popular nowadays to make video games and comic books into movies.
Mm-hmm.
What video game that has not been made into a movie would you really like to see made into a movie?
That's a good. I'd like to see Fallout made into a movie, actually. But that's a good question.
I think Fallout would lend very well to a TV show. Honestly,
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. But you know, then I guess if you look at some of the ones that have been made, they really have never kind of quite met the expectation. If I look at the Assassin's Creed movie, that was it was watchable and it was entertaining, but I didn't feel it had too much of a link to the game.
I agree 100%. 100%. I was kind of.
But yeah, no, I think Fallout would be an interesting concept to either do a movie or a TV show. What other games? Metro series could be interesting as a movie.
Yes, it was a great story. Great book.
Yeah. Yes, and somebody actually did say that on my channel that I need to read it's on my list of things to do.
I'm in the middle of reading it, Metro 2033, and it's crazy how they get into RTM's life and how he became where he was, and he was actually not planning to be this badass that he turns out to be.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, I need to read those. There's a number of books, I believe. There's 2 or 3, I think. Yeah, obviously they've done Tomb Raider and they've done a reasonable job, but I don't think that relates too much to the game. That's kind of went off on its own kind of tangent, that one. Skyrim, I agree, chat. What do you reckon, chat? Skyrim could be an interesting movie.
Yeah, Skyrim could definitely be pretty cool. We've got some here like Zelda, RimWorld.
Get some, Duke Nukem.
Mass Effect.
I think the biggest disappointment of video game into a movie is Doom.
Doom, yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't actually seen it.
Don't waste your time.
But I'm old school. I like the Doom.
It's got Dwayne Johnson in it. And I mean, the one cool part about the movie is that they actually did a video game mode view of it, where the main character goes into his rage, and they show first person point of view, like in a video game, for a matter of like 23 minutes.
Jeez.
And that was cool, but the whole story, I was disappointed. It was nothing like the game. The story was kind of fucked, if you ask me, and the acting was by par. It was a phoned in movie.
I think sometimes I get the impression that they go, oh, you know what? Here's an opportunity to make some money. We'll just use that very popular games title to suck people in, and I don't think they've quite made. I'd like to see somebody who's a gamer and a fan of the series, a bit like Lord of the Rings. You know, he was a fan of the Tolkien, and I'd like to see a gamer maybe make movies so that they would get that a little bit more on point with them. But yeah, that's what about yourself, Gary? You got any ideas what games you'd like to see as movies?
Oh, I'm all over it with you on Fallout. Like I said, I think it would make an excellent TV series. I mean, you could make a movie franchise with it, honestly. Just because it's you can come up with any story you wanted. So that'd be kind of cool. But and unfortunately, I just don't play that many games. But I mean, I've watched enough that I'm looking through chat, watching some of the ones that everybody's mentioning. And I was thinking World of Warcraft. They did that one. I never played World of Warcraft, but I was kind of curious what everybody's thoughts were on that one. Was it Silent Hill?
I thought that was a decent movie.
Didn't they do a Silent Hill movie?
They did a couple of them, and they were very well done, I think.
Yeah, and see, I watched my brother or my brother. I watched my cousin play the first Silent Hill a little bit, and then so I went ahead and watched the movie, and it's not really my genre. I'm not a much of a horror person. Matter of fact, I avoid it in most cases, but I did think that they did an excellent job with those movies. I mean, the one of the things my thought is you shouldn't have to be a fan of the video game to be able to, if they make a movie or a TV show based on it, for the average person to be able to enjoy, right? So the average person
Absolutely.
should be able to walk in there, watch that thing, and go, "Holy shit, that was a good movie." Oh, that's based on a video game? Oh, okay, that's interesting. Just like all the Marvel stuff, you don't have to be a fan of the comic books to be able to go in there and like any of the Marvel movies, right? Anything from the MCU. You know, you shouldn't have to know any of it or be a fan of the comic books or anything like that. You should just be able to go watch the movie and go, "Holy crap, those are good movies." So I
Yeah,
think that's the
I
big
agree.
thing, and they can get their inspiration anywhere. I'm perfectly okay with that, but I think the chat had a lot of great suggestions, though.
I think if you're
Absolutely.
gonna make a video game into the movie, you need to stay true to the video game. And a perfectly good example was Assassin's Creed. They had some things in it that did pay homage to the video game, but it was a completely wrong storyline.
Yep.
I was expecting to see so they did and actually there was a fan fiction film on Assassin's Creed right around when 2 or 3 came out, where they did a small story on Ezio Doria, Editorio, whatever his name is. That was phenomenal. It was only probably 30 minutes or 20 minutes long, but it was great. Um, I felt disconnected with this Assassin's Creed. Like, he didn't discover the codexes. He didn't, I can't remember if they even included the Apple of Eden in it. It was just, it wasn't an Assassin's Creed movie to me.
Yep.
Well, here's a kind of an extension of the game of that question, and chat kind of inspired me on this one. So, what has there been any video game or movies that they made a video game for? The accompanying video game. Is there any been in those video games that you've ever played and enjoyed?
Yes. Do you want to tell me what it is? It's called Alien Resurrection. Isolation, sorry.
Alien. See,
Isolation.
Mark did the series on Alien Isolation, and that was a hell of a game. I mean, obviously I
It's
didn't play it, but
scary as heck.
yeah, and I watched it when I first would get to work in the mornings, and I get to work at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting there watching these fucking videos, and he's jumping and I'm jumping and my heart's pounding, and people are coming in and talking to me, and my headphones are on so I can't hear them until they tap me on the shoulder, and I'm screaming and yelling. Oh, it was some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Avatar,
I
yeah,
think,
that was a movie before a video game, but yeah, that was
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
that is a good video game.
Movies that they made a video game based on the movie.
yeah, so that would be the one. I think, the one I'd really like them to nail, because I'm a bit of a fan, would be, and they haven't done it. They've tried it, is a Terminator game, but they've never nailed that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it seems like most movies that they make into video games, they just don't do a very good job of it. Most of the Star Wars stuff, especially any of the ones based on the movie themselves, never gets done well. They're always just kind of, yeah, okay, whatever.
I agree.
I could definitely say there was one game that I know of that was nailed perfect, and I put hundreds and hundreds of hours playing PvP, and that is James Bond GoldenEye.
Well, I think most everybody could probably say that. Now, I'm not one of them. I never did play James Bond GoldenEye. But see, that would be the kind of PvP that I would probably play. I used to, when I was over in Afghanistan, that's what we used to do. We used to have a LAN party, and we'd sit there and play Ghost Recon against each other, and a couple other games. We'd do a little bit of PvP action with those things, and yeah.
But yeah, Liz, if you want to scare the crap out of yourself, have a look at Alien Isolation. Play it with headphones on. Holy do! Talk about immersive experiences. Whoa!
Right.
Like Mark said, it'll turn you grey.
What was that game that I got confused with? What Mark? I think it was The Last of Us, where that guy discovers a little girl.
Yeah, that's
and
The
there's
Last of Us,
zombies.
yeah.
I would love to see that made into a movie.
Yeah, it's got a good storyline, isn't it?
Playing that game actually gave me so much anxiety.
Have you played Outlast yet, Mikey?
What's that?
Have you played Outlast? That will give you anxiety also.
Oh no.
Yeah.
If a game can give me anxiety playing, it's a good game.
But I agree with you, Liz. Blade Runner would be interesting, but are we talking about the new version of Blade Runner? Version.
They are.
The old version for me was the best one. The Harrison Ford in it. They both have Harrison Ford.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to agree with you, G4. The old. Honestly, they're both a little boring to me. But I'm going to say the older Blade Runner is way more interesting than the newer.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried watching it 3 times, and all 3 times I've fallen asleep.
So Strontium's got a question for you. Do you think Vault-Tec started the Great War?
It would be an interesting plot twist, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They could have. Maybe we'll find that out in this upcoming game. I don't know.
I mean, it just seems like it fits so well, doesn't it?
It does very much so.
Talk about controlling the, controlling the business model. Like, oh, we're gonna sell these vaults, and then we'll just start a war to force everybody to get into them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. It talks to kind of what is the motivation behind it, and is there money to be made, or so.
Right.
It certainly could be a viable option. So, Mark,
now,
you're asking Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout are unrelated. Do you think get some Easter eggs, funny references in Starfield? Knowing Bethesda, absolutely. I think you can count on it. They love to put these little Easter eggs everywhere.
I think, especially in Starfield, I would be disappointed and remiss to say if they did not put an Easter egg to Fallout in Starfield.
But maybe they're not going to do Easter eggs in Starfield. Like, Fallout lends itself, and it always has, to different Easter eggs, and especially anything pop culture or something like that. It'd be so easy to do a Easter egg. I mean, they've already introduced aliens and stuff like that, so it'd be so easy to introduce something for Starfield into it. But I doubt Starfield will do many, if at all, Easter eggs for Fallout.
Oh, you never know.
I don't know. I mean, I feel that they put Starfield in Fallout 4 in Nuka World. So how could you not reference at least like Nuka-Cola or something in Starfield?
Well, that's what I mean. Fallout lends itself so well to doing all those kinds of things, as far as doing the Easter eggs and the pop culture references and all that kind of stuff. That's one of the things that makes Fallout so cool, is the fact that it does that. I even referenced it, I think, in my last Fallout 1 video, where they did something, I mentioned something about it. So I just don't. I just have a feeling that they're going to take Starfield as going to be more of a serious game, and they're not going to do that. But maybe I'm wrong.
Here's a similar.
Good night to Kevin and Sushi Cat. Thanks for joining, and thanks for
good night, guys. Thanks for staying up late. And
Definitely.
yeah, again, G4 is up late too. Thank you. He's in the future. Kind of related to that same question, and this is for everybody, chat included. So listen up, guys. In the Fallout world, what is your favorite Easter egg that they've put in? I can tell you mine is the
Go on,
Indiana
Mike.
Jones reference in, I think it was Vegas.
Hmm.
That was my favorite Easter egg out of all the Easter eggs I've ever found.
There is it's something that I done, and I done a let's play on it, and it was the Massachusetts State House. And you go through, and you get into one part of the basement, and it's a reference to aliens, and I just love that. It's clearly a reference to the Aliens movies, and the Nest.
Can you elaborate on more? Because I think I've discovered that one.
So it's basically the Queen's Nest. If you've seen the first Alien movie with Ripley in space, it's as you go to find the Queen, it's a reference to that. So Massachusetts State House. Have a look at the video. It shows it where it is. It's near Park Street Station. Mike, if you want to go and have a look, but be prepared.
All right, we'll do. I'm gonna watch the video and probably do it.
Yeah,
good
for me, I think my favorite one was the Cheers bar. There's something about that I just think it's so cool. They did such a great job with it, and I just thought that was pretty fabulous. Partially because there's such a nostalgia to the thought that you could actually walk into the Cheers bar. Now, Mikey, I know you're originally from Boston. There's actually is a Cheers bar, but it looks nothing like the one that was in the TV show. So, the fact that you can actually go into the one that was like the TV show, to me, that's just way too cool.
There's a mod that improves it even more.
Oh, really?
Out there. Yeah, it's called Cheers Bar.
They spent a lot of time thinking about that one, didn't they?
Yeah, very original name. What about you, chat? What Easter eggs that you guys liked in the Fallout world? And it could be any of them. And if you don't know about the Indiana Jones one in Vegas, you randomly walking down the street and you see a skeleton in a fridge dressed up like Indiana Jones. And it's supposed to play homage to the Crystal Skull, where Indiana Jones jumps in the fridge to save himself from the nuclear bomb that gets accidentally dropped. And I'm using quotations there, accidentally.
So the one I'm talking about, Noisy Boy, it's a whole lot of Mirelurk eggs, but as soon as I saw that, I got the reference. As you come through that basement area, it's just there's Mirelurk eggs with those annoying little critters that break out of them everywhere. So, and that was one thing as I grew up, I loved my kind of horror movie stroke kind of sci-fi movies. So the Alien series I loved, especially the original.
While we're waiting for people to throw out Easter eggs, G4, other than 76, is there any games coming out that you're really looking forward to?
Yes. These game developers, they've just released a heap of games that at once. I don't know how I'm going to play them all. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out. There's a new Assassin's Creed coming out. There is a new Metro coming out. So all three of those.
Speaking of Red Dead Redemption, do you really? I mean, there's been such mixed stuff going on about that with Rockstar. Do you have high hopes? Like, would what do you think about what's being said about it?
Honestly, I think there's parallels with Fallout 76, but for me, and this is the reason I'll play Fallout 76, I want to make my mind up. I just get in and play and see what happens. But whether I'm going to get time to play that game or not is going to be another thing, because that's the reason I'm trying to get through Tomb Raider at the moment, is to clear the decks for 76. So because I think 76 is just going to take so long, and there's going to be so much to cover. So Metro Exodus, that's the one. I think looks awesome, and I've just kind of finished playing Last Light and halfway through 2033 in the Metro series. So yeah, it's I don't know, Mikey, to be honest. I'd like to have a look at that game, maybe, and that's what YouTube is good for. It's to get a feel for whether you're going to actually the game is for you, or whether you might just pass on it.
Well, I know Rockstar just recently had a and I said this in the last show. They had a demo for the GameStop employees, and it was pretty much just the guy riding through the desert on a horse. And I would say probably about 70% of the GameStop employees said they had a hard time staying awake for the demo because it was so freaking boring. Do you think that's just a small tidbit of it, or do you think the game? I mean, it's really hard to say.
You never know. You never ever know that what they're up to when they do that kind of stuff, and whether it's true or people that love Red Dead Redemption will buy it anyway. So I don't know. And then as the momentum builds and you start to see some gameplay, then you'll be able to make your mind up. I don't know. You look at the most recent Call of Duty that's coming out in a couple of months, and they done the same thing. They gave it to a panel of people to play, and they completely had to rewrite the game because everybody that played it hated it. So I don't know. You don't know when certain stages of development, some of this information probably normally in the past wouldn't have got at, and he wouldn't have known anyway. So wait and see.
Now, speaking of the new Assassin's Creed, I'm with you on that. I'm looking forward to it. But do you think it's a little soon for it to be coming out?
I looked at it. I looked at some of the gameplay for Odyssey. Yeah, Assassin's Creed, and I went, that's just Origins reskinned. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold off with that. But again, I've got most of the Assassin's Creed games, and Ubisoft have had good Assassin's Creed games and bad Assassin's Creed games, and so it's fine. It's still I'm still going to play it. It's still Assassin's Creed, but yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait.
I found Syndicate a little lacking.
Yep. I enjoyed Origins a lot. I think the first Assassin's Creed that I played was Black Flag, so I was kind of spoiled straight up. And I think Origins would be number 2 on my list. And like I say, I've got pretty much all of those games, and those two are probably my favourite. So,
I was lucky enough.
A little bit more time in Origins to develop that game and make it completely different to what they'd had before. So we'll see.
I was lucky enough to actually play the first Assassin's Creed and the second one, and got really into the storyline of it. So I mean, I have high hopes, but I'm just a little nervous because again, Origins hasn't been out that long, and all of a sudden there's a new one coming out.
Yeah, and I must admit, I was guilty of that. I looked at it and went, just tweaked Origins and reskinned it. So I'm going to sit and try and get some more information, see some more gameplay before I spend my moolah.
I can tell you some of the games that I'm really looking forward to are The Last of Us 2. They're going to extend the story on a couple of women. Mm-hmm. I saw some demos of it. It looked phenomenal. I want to play the new Spider-Man game that's out, and Days Gone. I'm just dying for that to come out.
What about you, Gary? Anything you're looking forward to?
Fallout 76.
Is that coming out soon? Is it?
That's what I heard. I mean, there may have been some hype a while ago about it, and hey, here in another week or two, hopefully we'll start seeing some with any luck, some videos or some streams of some beta testing. If not, I hope anybody that is doing some beta testing gets in the Discord and tells me all about it, because I wants to know.
Oh, we'll be doing some beta testing, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Do you like those look at the pixels in this? Look at the quality of the graphics in this game.
Those are some of the best pixels I've ever seen in my life.
This is golden, actually.
Yeah, it is.
It's right up there with the first Mortal Kombat.
Right. It's funny because nowadays they talk about the polygons and all that kind of stuff for the whether or not it causes lag or something like that. These guys didn't even have polygons; they just had pixels.
But you know what? I went back and played this, and it was a lot. So it just shows you don't need a good storyline as long as it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, this had a storyline. At least it had that going for it. But yeah, it's just a fun game to play. Hey, you went for a swim and died. Way to go. Anyway,
I think. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, if you were asked to design a game, what would it be, including your gameplay style, the environment, and all those kind of things? Like, what would be your ideal game that you could make?
Holy dealy, how long have you got? I don't know, man. It would be. I'll probably play them now. It would be a combination of, I guess. Certainly, it would be a first person. It would have ballistic weapons in it, but I do like the element that the Gearbox have put into Borderlands, which is they have some elemental weapons, so I wouldn't mind those. It would be open world, obviously, and I love that kind of. I do it a bit in my building, that kind of multi-level environment, so you'd be able to, a bit like 76 you'll be up in the mountains, or a bit like Metro, you'll be down underneath and things like metro stations and vaults and stuff. There'd have to be a stealth element to it. Like I said, I like playing stealth games, but I haven't got the patience for it, so I end up kind of coming out and killing people. You'd have to have an element of Tomb Raider where you climb, rather than go inside a building like you do. Should we scale the building? That might be quite fun. So it'd be all those kind of elements, and it would have to be based in Australia. Actually, that would be kind of interesting if they started off say it could be the US, it could be Australia. I think the US has been overdone in video games. Sorry, guys, but it'd be kind of fun if the DLCs were like different countries or something like that, just to make it interesting. Different environments.
Right.
I'm a big fan of different environments, and what I love about Fallout 4 is the discovery, is the exploration. And like I said earlier, I'm still coming across little nuggets in Fallout 4 that I hadn't discovered before, and it can be something as a random encounter with a character, or a little shack that's been built up in the mountains that I haven't found before, or whatever.
That was one of the things about like Fallout 4 with the two main DLCs with Far Harbor and Nuka World. I'm glad that they kind of give us different environments,
Yes.
So, Far Harbor, you're in the kind of, semi-swamp and rainy and foggy and all that kind of stuff. And then Nuka World's, to me, it's rather much like a desert, so that was kind of cool. I thought that was nice to be able to get that. And I definitely appreciate games that give you different environments. One of the things, Mark's doing, he's doing a Zelda playthrough right now, and I think He's about level or episode 50 out of like 94 or some shit like that. And but he goes to the desert. He goes to the he goes up to the mountains and the snow and whatnot, and you have to be prepared for that. And some
Yep.
people don't care for that, to have that kind of detail of things that they in their game. I personally find it great. I think that it's great to the thought that you need to be prepared to deal with the cold, or need to be prepared to deal with the heat and that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty awesome. And
Well, in
I'd love to have that in
76,
any
you're gonna
game I
have to.
did.
In 76, you're gonna have to do that, and they did that a little bit in 4 with the glow and sea.
Here's an interesting twist in the latest Tomb Raider. There's a part of that map that you get to, and you're in a village, and if you're not dressed in the right clothes, they won't talk to you. And I'm like, I keep going at, and little explorations come back and go, oh, that's right, I have to change my clothes. And I like that kind of stuff. I like that kind of little quirkiness and it's similar to what you're saying, Gary, where you have different environments, and you have to kind of adjust your style of play to those different environments.
Yeah. I think for me, any game that I were to ever build would have to have that kind of stuff in it. Just because it just, some people don't like to have all that, but hey, you know what? Why make your game so one-dimensional, and add as many mechanics to things as you can, make it more interesting, things that people have to work through or work to get the appropriate stuff to be able to do the things that you're talking about. You have to do a mission to get the clothing or whatever it is, like you said, to be able to talk to the people. Like one of the last videos I saw of Mark's was in Zelda. He had to have clothes, so he had to dress like a chick just to get into this one village, and he basically had to dress like a transvestite just to get into the village, and that was kind of funny, And he was telling me that basically it's like that throughout no matter what. Like, you can save the village from everything, and complete the game and go back and all these other things. If you're not wearing the chick's clothing, they only let you through the door. That's pretty cool. I think that's just pretty cool.
I think another element that I'd like to see as well, and this is what I love about the series, is your enemies, the things that the enemies say to you. And I think Bethesda does this to a degree, are just hilarious, and I love that. But I've got to say, on the other side, I don't like games that are just have so many elements to them and are so complicated that your brain goes into meltdown. So I keep it reasonably simple and
So, with the internet the way it is, and you pretty much don't have to leave your house even buy a video game, do you ever miss the days where you had to go to the arcade to play video games?
Funny you should ask that, Mikey, because I thought one of your questions would be, how did you get? And that's how I. And it was, but it was as much about the social interaction with your mates as it was with playing the game, and you had to wait your turn, and then you had to be reasonably good, or you're out of money. So I do miss those games, and I do go back to it every so often. But I think, to answer the question, the community that we have in these kind of events that you put on, where we can all get together and just hang out and talk crap to each other and swap ideas, kind of substitutes for that a little bit. It's not got quite the same tactile feel, but What do you guys think?
I kind of miss going to arcades and experiencing a new game. I mean, we have stuff like Dave & Buster's around here, and the games in these arcades are just getting ridiculously huge and I want to say immersive, but a little too much. Like, one of the games that I played when I went to Dave & Buster's was a Star Wars game, believe it or not, where you had to one level was you had to do a speeder, another level was you had to do a TIE fighter. You had to fly a TIE fighter, and the screen was wrapped around. The game was shaped in a bubble, and the screen was wrapped around half the bubble, and it gave me actually motion sickness.
Basically,
it
a
was
virtual
too
game.
much.
Yeah.
And that's what VR's all about. That's what VR's all about now. G'day, Plasman. Welcome to the stream, mate.
Hey, Plasman. Welcome, buddy.
But I do miss the old days of I saved up my money. I'm gonna go buy some tokens, and I'm gonna play Resident Evil or one of those games where they had the gun attached to the booth.
Yeah, and just pray that the guy that was the gun player on that game wasn't on with it waiting to pick up others.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had a hard time, and like anytime I was at the mall or anything like that, if they had a little arcade in there, I had a hard time not going in there and at least playing something. It was no matter how old I was, it was like you walk along, oh, they got an arcade. My wife and we went to a movie shortly after she came to America, and at the theater they had a bit of an arcade. They had one of the ones with the guns, and you have like Time Crisis or whatever it was.
Yep.
This one, it had sensors that it could track like where your body was, so you could like lean and all these different types of things, which was really freaking cool. Mike, whatever you're playing with, you need to stop because I can't even hear myself talk. Holy shit!
Sorry,
dude.
Pulling nuts out of a bag. Sorry.
You leave your nuts in your own bag. I'm surprised you'd do that to yourself.
I am leaving that one completely alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what you're pulling out your bag anyway.
Right. So anyway, that game was really cool because like you could duck down and all that kind of stuff. I played it for like 10 minutes or something on 1 credit. By the time I got done, I was fucking exhausted. Like I had a goddamn workout plan. I mean, I'm sweating and everything like that. And my wife's looking at me. She goes, "Do we need to go home so you can get cleaned up?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm glad I didn't decide to play another credit because Jesus Christ, I'm tired."
I need to have a lie down.
Yeah, I was like, I hope I don't fall asleep during the movie. It was but it was such a fun game. But I mean, regardless, I used to love playing video games, like in the arcade. Like if there was one at the gas station or something like that, like, "Dad, give me a quarter." Like we're leaving. Like, come on, man. I mean, just we used to play Street Fighter all the damn time. My brother and I, we just sit there and play Street Fighter all day long. We went through I don't even know how many quarters one day. I think it was on Father's Day or something like that. My dad kept giving us money, and we're like, "Shit, Dad's great." Well, come to find out, he was giving us money so we could go buy him something for Father's Day. And he just kept giving us money. We just kept chucking it into the video game. We were there all goddamn day long. It was hilarious because he'd have to drive across town because we rode our bikes there. And he had to drive clear across town to just give us more money. And, like, we didn't call him or nothing. He just showed up and was like, "Here's $10. Okay, excellent. And we just thought it was great. Like, "Dad, this is so awesome. Look how great Dad is." And then, like, later on we found out, oh, it's Father's Day, and our mom's like, "Yeah, your dad was giving you the money so you could go get him something for Father's Day." Like, oh, well, shit. I guess he didn't get anything for Father's Day this year. We played that money.
I think also it was a great feeling to get that high score and put your initials there and know that everybody's going to be like, "Oh, that bastard. I'm going to try to beat him."
Very early on now, some of the arcade games like Space Invaders, very early on, gamers figured out how we could break games because you could actually go round the clock, what we called round the clock on Space Invaders, and zero out the score if you were good enough.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Oh dear, Les needs a shower after you playing with your nuts, Mikey. Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get it all over the place.
Yeah, no, you know what? The arcades are a completely different experience as a gamer. I think most of us that's where we started, and I do miss it, I must admit. But yeah, I guess it is what it is.
Right.
Nowadays, it's evolved, and I was going to say before he continued with the story, Gary, it taught you some values of saving money and stuff like that. But then, yeah, you kind of blew that one out the water. Didn't
Yeah, right. It did. But I mean, that didn't happen very often. Like, I can remember there was a restaurant downtown in our hometown here, and my parents decided they were going out with my aunt and uncle. So my cousin and my brother and I got taken down to this pizza place. They bought us pizza and gave us a shit ton of money, with a bunch of money so we could play the video games. And there's only like 3 different video games, but we knew that one of them was one that we'd want to play. So they just gave us a shit ton of money. They went to the bar and they just hung out at the bar all night. And I don't even know how old we were. Probably I was like maybe 10 or something like that, 10, 11 years old. And they, every so often, one of them would come in and go, "You guys need any more money?" Yes, we do. And amazing enough, the restaurant stayed open like until after midnight or something, and we just kept drinking sodas and chucking quarters in the video game, And that was like mom and dad's babysitter, like that for at least for that night. And they didn't go out to the bars very often, but that one time they decided they wanted to go out to the bar and actually do adult type things, and it had nothing better to do with it. It was like, oh, we'll put them in front of the video game, and they ain't gonna walk away. It was like, deal.
Isn't that what they call a win-win situation?
Exactly.
Everybody's happy.
I think one of my favorite art games that I used to play as a kid was actually Rampage.
Oh, yeah, I used to play Rampage all the time at the skate pit here in town.
Rampage, and I believe there was an Aliens game.
I used to play, is it Galactica or something like that, and it was a very simple game. But
there was Galaga and Galactica.
Galaga, it was.
Yeah,
Galaga. And then they upgraded and they gave us those video games that were actually tables as well that you could put your drinks on. You remember those ones?
Oh yeah,
actually sit down and play.
Mrs. Pac-Man was one of those games I used to love to. At a pizza joint.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
She would gobble down balls like you could read about.
How did I know that was coming?
She was insatiable.
So
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing that we were able even when we came to console. If you look at the controllers nowadays, they're a lot more complicated than what most of us grew up with. The old joystick and the one button. That was it, pretty much.
No, so the first system didn't even have a joystick or a button. It was a knob. So you turned right or left.
You played with a knob.
Yep.
Even then, I learned how to play with my knob.
I wonder who came up with the name joystick, though.
There was actually
had to have been a man
documentary on it.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of it.
This is good. This podcast's gone in a completely different direction than anticipated, but never mind.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, I remember that game was so much fun. I used to love playing it. And again, I think it was Nacho. There was another game. Nacho had mentioned one where you were this virtual reality cowboy that had to jump over snakes and shoot Indians. And it was pretty much like a tabletop game that had that projected the image up in 3D. It was great. I popped so many quarters into that machine.
Yeah, I used to play Ninja Gaiden, and what was the one where you were the they had a version for Budweiser, but you were like the bartender and had all the patrons that would come through, and you'd have to fill up the beer and slide it down the bar to them. And there's like 4 different bars, and you have to go up and down and then slide the beers down to them and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I used to love that. That was like a mind-numbing game, and I could just enjoy that game forever. It was awesome.
There seems to be a theme with alcohol in bars and what you like, Gary.
Well, there used to be a lot of alcohol consumed.
class, man.
So does
That's
anybody in
class.
chat have questions?
Any more questions, guys?
Can we get a little personal with you, G4?
Say that again.
Can we get a little personal with you?
Can you get personal with me? You always get personal with me, Mikey, but we just don't advertise it. Yes, sure you can. What would you like?
So, outside the gaming world,
Mhm.
tell us a little about, do you, I think I heard your wife. Do you have kids? What
Yeah,
kind of
no,
work do you do?
I'm actually a commercial photographer,
Oh, wow.
and I specifically work with. I do school photography at the moment, but I've been, and that's been fantastic because since I was a teenager, that was my hobby, and I've turned it into a job now. And it's always great when you do something you love and time. So that's what I do for a job at the moment. And after that's probably my third career change. Yep, been with the same lady for a long 3 kids all grown up, and I actually have a granddaughter, believe it or not, which might shock a few people.
Oh wow,
Wow, you heard it here first. G4 is a granddad.
Exclusive.
man!
So
We're all about the exclusives.
So that was Miller's 5 months old now. So, and it's fantastic.
That's
It's
awesome.
fantastic.
Is that what took you to Australia? I don't know if I've ever heard this.
What took me to Australia? Love.
You went there for your wife?
Partly, but it was actually it was the kind of let's go. So I met my wife in Scotland. She grew up in Australia. So that's another story. But it was that kind of let's go and do something. So we'd settled down in Scotland. We had bought a house and we'd done all that kind of stuff. And we went, you know what? Let's go and do something completely different. So we sold up everything and arrived in Sydney with absolutely Zippo furniture and a little bit of money, and it was the exploration and the excitement and the journey. So it was, and it was the best move I ever made.
Awesome.
Because I was sick of the cold weather in Scotland.
yeah, I could imagine.
Vault Girl has an awesome question. What is your guilty pleasure game?
Guilty pleasure game. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I've just played my guilty pleasure game. Definitely Tomb Raider. The camera angles in Tomb Raider are just fantastic. Although I do miss the old Lara, but never.
That's the guilty part of it, right?
I did go back and play one of the old recently under. It took me. Thanks for that question, Vault Girl. Yeah.
I was on one of Vic's streams the other day, and he was playing the Tomb Raider game, and he had to squeeze through this little crack, and he's like, if that was the old Laura, she wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, and Draco has a completely different twist on that, as you know, but anyway, we'll agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of the old Laura that I miss. Like, I also miss, like, when she would get up on a cliff and do the handstand and the split. I thought that was a cool move.
Yeah.
So Mark has a question. Have you ever had a game that brought tears to your eyes?
Absolutely. There's several. There's actually, and I put it up on my channel at some point. I was investigating the brewery that's close to the castle in Fallout 4, and I came across a super mutant, and I've shot him. And the super mutant that I shot glitched, and he slowly sunk into the floor and disappeared. And I was just I fell off. I nearly fell off my seat. And so there's been lots of moments like that. I'm hoping that's the kind of crying you're talking about, and not the sad crying. But there's been lots of funny things like that. Playing Call of Duty online, sometimes the way you kill people can just be outstandingly funny. And, Mikey will know, and also very frustrating. But there's many things that I've encountered in the gaming, but that would be the one that comes to mind. That one with Fallout 4.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna actually take it a different way. It didn't really bring tears to my eyes, but I thought it was very sad. Was in Assassin's Creed's Origins. One part of the game, you're trying to help this little girl and her family, and she ends up getting kidnapped. And she had some book or something, and the next thing you do is you try to save her, but you end up finding her body tied to a rock in the bottom of the Nile. I thought that was a very dark and sad moment for the game.
I think, okay, so Mark, the sad and crying part. The most recent campaign that I played with Call of Duty, the World War II campaign, and it takes you into one of the concentration camps. That was really and I'll say no more than that, but it's that had me a bit upset.
It's funny, not funny, haha, but funny in a weird way that the good games that talk about the World War I, World War II, and Vietnam that actually show the aspects of the downside of war can really choke you up emotionally. And I like games like that, that pay the true homage to the fallen ones in that era.
It's an important message, I think, Mikey. So, as much as it might be painful, you need to be exposed to it, if that's the right way of putting it.
Gary, you
want to make me cry, Mark? Is that what you're trying to do?
Deep thoughts with G4. So, G4, when you were a child.
So, a game that made me cry, probably the original Leisure Suit Larry. I went through all of that effort to try to get to with that one chick, and I thought it was going to happen, and then she just took me in there, and with I don't even remember what happened, but yeah, I didn't even get to have sex with her. That made me cry. I was so upset and frustrated.
Dear. There's nothing I can say there. It's just...
Nope. We've all been there.
It's a video game, don't it? Not being able to put sexy, what is it, sleepwear on in New Vegas.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll make you cry.
I think another sad moment is I was watching Mark Jackson's pickup game, and he turned around to the girl and said, "Can I lick your ass?" And she said no and slapped him and walked away. That made me cry.
You're a bad man, Mike.
Have you actually watched that video game that he's playing? It's freaking ridiculous. I can't even believe they made something like that into a video game.
What's that, South Park?
No, it's a game to help you pick up women.
Oh, yeah, that one? Yeah, that one was just too funny. It was just the most obnoxious and entertaining and stupid and funny game around.
We live in a virtual world, Mikey. Why not?
Yeah. So, is there a game that you ever played and just said, "Fuck! I wish I had that time of my life back and my money back for playing this"?
Oh, there's been many. There's been many over the years.
Name the one that just extremely pissed you off for buying.
You know what? I don't tend to play them very long. I'll take the most recent one. You know, the one that everybody supposedly is playing in the world is Fortnite, and I downloaded it. Half an hour later, I deleted it, and it just was like, nah, not for me. It's not, and there's been many instances of that kind of stuff over the years where I just get so far. The Division was another one that's
really
a popular game. Yeah, I just for me, and personally, if you like a game, that's fine. I don't have anything to do with it. It's a personal choice, but yeah, I started playing the Division and I just did not like it, and I haven't played it since. So there's been a few like that over the years.
I was gonna download that for the Xbox Pass because I love Tom Clancy games.
That doesn't mean you're not going to like it. That's what I'm saying. It's just for me, it wasn't. It wasn't my game, and I sort of knew that going in because some playthroughs on it, and I kind of went, I don't think I'm going to like this, and I thought, oh no, let's not be kind of close-minded, have a go at it. And I was completely right, and I'm starting to pick that now with watching some playthroughs, games that I'll like and games that I'm like, nah. I don't like games that are just repetitive, after a while.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you one of the series that I actually really miss playing was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six series.
Yep.
I've got I had so much fun playing those online with people. I don't know if we've asked you this already, but is there a franchise that you miss playing and wish there would be more of it?
That's a good question. I wish there was more Fallout, but we're about to have that Borderlands Gearbox software. I can't wait for the next Borderlands. Like I said, I just loved that series, specifically Borderlands 2. If you're going to play Borderlands 2, there's kind of 3 in the franchise, but again, it looks like they've delayed it for another 12 months.
See, from what I heard, I thought they killed it because of all the shit that was going on with a couple of the devs that got fired for trash talking fans of the game.
No, it's still going. It's still going on. It's just taking time. But I'm glad to see a game developer that's actually taking their time, and they don't want to just put out a game for the sake of putting out the game. They're actually ready to spend the time on it. So yeah, it's coming, but they haven't officially announced it as such. But we know it's coming.
Did you play the Handsome Stories or whatever his name was?
What are you talking about, the collection, or are you talking about the Tales of the Borderline?
Yeah, I think the Tales of the Borderline.
I did play that for a while. It was okay. It wasn't. It was completely different to, and I played that on iPad for instance. The Handsome Collection is Borderlands 2 and the other one that was made by the Aussies. Can't think of it at the moment. But yeah, Borderlands 2 I love. I've played 18 months, and I was like, where did that 18 months of my life go? I was so immersed in it.
I liked the series, but I liked it more for the co-op.
Yep.
The playing singly, I didn't enjoy too much.
Well, I was very lucky, and again, it's back to what we were talking about earlier, but I was very lucky. I met these guys that through actually Call of Duty that loved the Borderlands, and we used to play co-op together, and that some of the fights in co-op are just nuts in that game. Absolutely crazy. Because as soon as there's an extra player, you get more enemies up. Something to do with the engine. I don't know how it works, but it just gets crazy, and I love it. I love the chaos.
Brian, Just Fuller from Canada, has asked this 3 or 4 times, and we haven't asked you or answered it, so we'll ask you now. Quake or Unreal?
Quake.
And reason?
Yeah.
Is there a certain reason, or?
I just love it. I just always have. So.
That's so unreal.
You think so?
See what I did there, huh?
I saw what you did. Yeah.
All right, so we have people who have prior engagements they gotta get to, so we're gonna
No
get
problem.
close to wrapping this up. Anything new coming to your channel that we need to look out for besides 76? Like, you have any things coming up?
I'm sorry, Brian, that I broke your heart. First of all, yeah, I'd like to say thanks to everybody that supported the channel, and thanks to everybody that supported the video that I put out last week, actually. And there's another one coming tomorrow, and that's getting ready for Fallout 76. That build that I've done on the lake. There's a new one coming tomorrow, and I've actually started a third one, building it in virtually the same location or close to the location that the video for tomorrow comes at. And yeah, I haven't seen anybody quite do a build like this, so we'll see how it turns out and see if you like it. That's coming at more Meet the Neighbors this week. I've got to get onto that pretty quickly and do a couple more of those. So if you got any more suggestions for channels, please let me know. Yeah,
Are you keeping the channels to channels that are mostly Fallout 4 or just general channels?
General channels. The kind of criteria that I'm using is under and posting regular. That's pretty much the only kind of criteria that I've got.
Under 1,000 and posting regular. Well, I got two for you: Mark Jackson
No worries.
and Liz.
Those guys might be on the list already.
Oh, okay, yeah, because those guys are putting out content right and left, and they deserve to have more people. I'm glad that you got Mikey in on that list, and
sure,
I will definitely, you know me, you and I are cut from the same cloth when it comes to giving credit where credit's due and promoting the community and all that kind of stuff. So,
yep.
If I come across anybody that I feel like would be a good candidate, I will definitely let you know. And
thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you done one on Gary yet?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Hi.
Have you seen that one, Mikey? My God, I thought you.
I told you, man. The notifications for you are not coming through. I didn't even know you were doing Meet the Neighbors until JPIC told me about it.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Have you clicked the bell?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm getting notified now, but
I know YouTube's just. I was it like a month ago or something like that? I didn't get notified for anything. I was like, holy crap! When is this thing ever going to tell me that somebody else is? I mean, if because I watch all my. I know some people watch their stuff on their consoles or whatever. I watch all mine on my PC. So, I can make comments and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if anybody else, how they watch theirs, but if you watch on a PC and you go to your subscriptions, it lists everybody, and the people that you watch most often, they filter up towards the top. And you can see how many videos that they've had since the last time you were in their channel and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes that's the only way I know that somebody put out another video is to go through that list. So YouTube just does not want to do the notifications. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. They just, I don't know why they get it to us and they go, let's build the wheel again, and completely screw things. I don't know. I got no idea what they do.
Gary, do you want to throw G4's link up there just in case, and throw both of ours as well? It is in the description, yes, but.
So yeah, to continue to answer your question, Mikey. So up the corner, I'll continue. I've done a few more builds there, which you'll see in the next couple of weeks. The game guides for Tomb Raider will hopefully get wrapped up in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully by that time, Fallout 76 will be in beta. So,
Gary,
I'm working on lots of stuff.
Do you have anything coming up?
Gary's falling over.
He's concentrating.
Oh, sorry. I have to keep
click and paste. It can be very hard.
I have to keep muting myself because
We don't multitask well, do we?
Well, I got a cold and I keep sneezing and coughing and everything, and nobody wants to hear that crap. So yeah, I'll be continuing the Fallout 1 stuff. I'll be getting back into my survival playthrough in Far Harbor, and I was going to be doing the Millennium Falcon build, but had some recent stuff happen in the house and got crap rearranged. I have to clean off my workbench to get started on it, and then I got shit put in front of my workbench, so I can't even get to the workbench right now to get it cleaned off to get going. I was like, tomorrow night we're gonna do this. I got home from work, like, yeah, we need to move this down here. I'm like, where are we gonna put it? Oh, we'll just put it by your workbench. Fuck me. So yeah, the Millennium Falcon build will happen, I promise. I'm getting really anxious about getting started on that. So if it doesn't start this year, then I may just have to find a razor blade for the old wrists and go to town. But that's what I got going on. Oh, and then of course the Vault 88 stuff. So yeah.
Sure. Cool. Thanks to Mark, Noisy Boy, and subbing. I appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Hopefully you like the content, and any feedback is appreciated. What you'd like to see.
What I
Mikey,
have
what about
coming
yourself,
up,
Mikey? Yeah.
I just dropped a new video today, part 2 and the finish of This Old Wasteland of the Green Top Nursery Edition. I think the next spot we're going to go is the lighthouse. I will be doing 76 stuff, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put a question mark on that. And, of course, me and Gary, every other Saturday, unless there's a holiday, we'll be doing this podcast show. I'm going to try to book the most anticipated person that everybody's been asking, Vault Girl, on the next show, hopefully. I'm going to talk to her about that after the show, if you're still here, Vault Girl. And that's just it. If you guys have any suggestions of where you would like to see me build, or what you would like to see me build on This Old Wasteland, please hit my channel up, watch one of the videos, drop a suggestion. Make sure each and every one of you check out each and every one of your different YouTube channels here, because there are a ton of people in this room that have ton of content that is extraordinary. Definitely hit G-Force page. He has a ton of content that is words can't explain it. They're great. Great stuff. Very entertaining. Along with local 4-packs, Let's Plays and builds. Please hit his channel. Give him a sub. Show him some love. And I think that is it. I want to thank G4 for taking time out in the future. And I'll thank him tomorrow, because then we'll catch up. For coming to the show and being great.
Thanks, guys, and
thanks
for giving me the opportunity to. I've really enjoyed just chilling back and having a chat with everybody and having a few laughs, guys. So thanks so much.
It's always great. I mean, I wish we could all get into a bar and talk, but this is the next best thing.
We'd never get out, Mikey. Let's be honest.
Yeah, right. Well, we can't sign off just yet, because I have to get a invite out there for anybody that's in the chat right now. If you're not in my Discord, I'm going to put a link up so you can get into my Discord. I just got to find my link.
And thanks to everybody in the chat, guys. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for all the questions and the support. I enjoy this community immensely, and we'll just keep building it and making it stronger.
Yes, I'm going to have to say the chat has been incredible, as always, with the activity and the questions and the love. You guys are great. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, Morpheus GI, you'll at least be able to understand what I'm saying, right? So good to see you, right?
Mark, I'm not a scrapper, but I don't back down. I always got my friends' backs.
I could imagine Mikey in the bar, man.
If I can't hit you, I'll bite you.
Arr,
Right on the leg, the thigh, the meaty part.
the meaty part. Alrighty. Well, I've got the Discord out there. Like I said, if you guys aren't in my Discord, go ahead and join if you want. And then, because you never know, you may be one of the next people on the podcast. So you'll have to be in Discord in order to participate. So that's always important. So thank you everybody
And-
for joining. That was a great time tonight, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Night, everybody.